So I had a couple come in here and drop off one of these DVD VCR combo units for repair, and their complaint was that it didn't seem to have any power, and sure enough, when I plugged it in, it doesn't. I don't see the display lighting up, and I don't see any kind of LEDs lighting up. Anyway, my first approach when I get something like this is to start with the simple things first, and in this case that would be the power supply. I started by making sure that I had my AC power coming in here and that my fuse was okay. Fuse turned out to be okay, so the second thing I check is the output of the bridge rectifier that converts your AC to DC. And that's this little jobby right here. And of course it feeds into this reservoir capacitor, fills it up with DC, and before it can pass it on to the transformer to power up the rest of the circuit, it has to be pulsed DC. Now if you know anything about transformers, they're not able to pass steady DC. It has to be pulsed or it has to be alternating current, one or the other. And that's the purpose of this little switching regulator right here. It's a little 5-pin IC that helps develop the pulses, or I should say helps, it does develop the pulses for the primary side of the power supply, or what's known as the hot side. The secondary side, or also what's known as the cold side, as everything passes this line here, that's on the output of the transformer, and it fills up these capacitors here. Of course, they're rectified through diodes first. And before you replace the IC, it's always wise to check for any shorts on the secondary side here. If you were to just replace the IC and it turned out something was shorted on this side, you might find yourself blowing a perfectly new IC. So I highly recommend that check for shorts, make sure the capacitors aren't open or have high ESR values. Anyway, fairly simple repair, little 5-pin IC. That's the part number on top there, and the location number, and that's the model number of the DVD VCR unit if you happen to get one of these. Now I seem to remember getting something like this in the past where I was able to reset it by, what I did, I had to push the power button and then plug it in at the same time. I don't know if this unit has that kind of circuitry in it, but it didn't work on this one. I tried all the tricks first, and anyway, ended up being the IC. Now, one thing I should add to this video, I always like to make sure the IC is not running excessively hot before I call the job good. Now, in this case, it was running a little bit on the hot side, but I didn't think it was to the point where it was necessarily a problem. So I double-checked it on my watt meter to see if I was drawing an excessive amount of current, and it didn't seem to be, so hopefully everything will be okay. I'll let it run for a while to make sure it's okay. Anyway, there you have it. Another repair. As always, I hope you find the video helpful. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe.